Hey y'all, I am back and I have more creepy stories. These are all like Home Alone stories, which I should not be reading while I'm home alone. But let's hop right into scaring ourselves. I don't know how many stories are in this. There's just like a bunch of little stories, so we'll see how long the video is. A couple years back, I woke up at 3 a.m. to see someone walk past my bedroom door. I called out in my just woken up, not thinking haze, thinking maybe my boyfriend had come over while I was sleeping, but got no response, so I knew it wasn't him. Got out of bed, stupidly forgetting to take my phone or any kind of defensive item with me, and went into the front room where the light was on, to be met with a random guy staring at one of the walls. I asked him who he was, and I got no answer. At this point, I'd actually woken up enough to realize I could really be in trouble, so I ran back to the bedroom. I grabbed my phone and ran outside on the phone to the police, who showed up within a few minutes. Turns out the guy was mentally ill, and to this day, neither myself or the police know how he got in. Okay, next one. This happened a while ago. I was at home by myself on a call with some friends when all of a sudden my dog begins to bark like crazy, which was odd since it was the middle of the night and he's usually asleep. I go downstairs to check on him and found him barking at our hall closet. Terrified, I grab my bat that I keep in my room just in case, and I open the door. There was nothing out of the usual at first, then I looked down and noticed a familiar looking object at the bottom of the closet. It was my mom's necklace she had lost when I was 9. I showed it to my mom at breakfast and she was just as shocked as I was. I still have no clue how it got there or how my dog knew it was there. Definitely one of the oddest occurrences of my life. Okay, wait, I was like expecting these all to be like intruder stories. That's weird as fuck. Like how? Oh my god. It's like tea. It's literally like tea. If you guys didn't know, I used to play with the Ouija board and there was this spirit that we would talk to all the time, and she would take our stuff and then put it back like months later. And it would be in the middle of the room, like out in the open where you knew it was not. And so it was so obvious that she was doing it because we're like, it's not like we missed this for the last 4 months. That's scary. Not home alone, but the only one in the right side of the house. Went to my mom's bathroom to wash my hands and saw a pair of feet behind the half-open door. Laughed and said, "Very funny, Ma, I see you." Just finished up and left. Bumped into my mother in the kitchen unpacking. Nobody else was in the house. I'm glad whatever was behind the door didn't peek out. You never found out who or what it was? Oh my god, you did. Hello, 911? There is a person in my house. You didn't do that? I grew up in a very rural area. Our house was on the end of a dead-end road in the middle of Midwest farm country. In high school, I was in cross country and track and found it easiest to run in the late evenings on nights when there wasn't practice. One night, which was fairly well lit by the moon, I was running the last quarter mile to my house and I saw someone else running towards me on the road from the direction of my house. I live on a dead-end road. There is nothing but farm fields behind it and definitely wasn't my mom running. It surprised me so much I stopped for a second to consider what I was seeing. I remember exactly what the runner was wearing, and I watched her run another 5 or 6 strides towards me before she disappeared or blended into the night like the predator or some such. Now, it could have been exhaustion or dehydration, I guess, but I've run a lot further and a lot longer than I did that night without seeing anyone materialize and evaporate. And I never did again, either on that road or anywhere else. It was the scariest thing that ever happened to me. I anime ran home crying, panic tears, and I'm not ashamed to tell you about it. I couldn't bring myself to run at night again for a month. No, I would never run again. I would quit cross country and track and I would die. I was in my college apartment and my roommate had just moved out. Her room was directly across from mine with the living room in between us. I'd cleaned out her room and then closed the door. I left my bedroom door open when I went to take a shower one night. My bathroom was connected to my bedroom. I also happened to leave the bathroom door open. While I was in the shower, I thought I heard a woman talking. I'd never been able to hear my neighbors talking before, but figured that they just happened to be talking in their bathroom, which shared a wall or something. When I got out of the shower, I was surprised to see a black void when there should have been the bright white closed door of my old roommate's door reflecting in the moonlight. I figured I just forgot to close the door and went and closed it. The next night, I once again went to take a shower and left my room and bathroom door open, but this time I checked to make sure the other door was latched and the front door was double locked. When I came back out, I once again saw the void with the door wide open. I slammed my door closed and locked that shit so fast. I convinced myself there was a logical explanation, so the next night I once again checked all of the doors and then closed my bedroom door. This time I came out of the shower and my bedroom door was open along with the other door. I showered and slept with my bedroom door locked from that point on. I guess this took place over several nights home alone, and I may not have been alone. Still the creepiest thing that has ever happened. Okay, I really was expecting all of these to be like intruder stories, not paranormal. Whatever, I'm fine with it. It's still freaking me out regardless, and I hate it. I was about 21 or 22 and living by myself at the time. I left my window open on a pleasant night. It was low enough to the ground that you could get in if you really tried, but the screen wasn't easy to take off, and I lived in a fairly safe neighborhood, so I didn't even think twice about it. Woke up in the middle of the night because I smelled smoke. I reached out to turn on my lamp, and my hand hit what was very obviously a person. My brain fully woke up at this point, and I realized there was a shirtless man in my bedroom smoking a cigarette and staring at me. I remember yelling for him to get out, and I must have spooked him just as badly as he spooked me because he leapt out my window and took off. I slammed it shut and moved a bookcase in front of it, and when I went out the next morning in the daylight, found the screen sitting against the house. Didn't sleep the rest of the night, and I haven't slept with a window more than cracked ever since. I also absolutely refuse to live on the ground floor of a building. I don't know if he was planning to rob me or something really bad or both, but it was absolutely terrifying. It makes me wonder how many times it happened and I didn't wake up. No, the way you still leave it cracked sometimes is so brave. I was taking a nap in my apartment under blankets in my bed when I hear the door open. Thinking it's my husband, I ignore it. But about 5 minutes later, I hear several female voices. I'm thinking I'm dreaming, so again, I ignore it. The voices get louder and suddenly my bedroom door opens. I freak out and bolt upright in bed. 3 women were in my apartment, 2 young, 1 older. I shriek, they shriek, they were not in my apartment. It turned out the management company showed the wrong apartment available for rent that day. I got an apology and a bouquet of flowers. No, that's like not happening, it's just not. Late one evening, my landlord, who lives downstairs, had come into my apartment to check on some electrical work in the kitchen. It was a brief visit and we left the front door open. The landlord left after a few minutes and I went straight to bed. A couple of hours later, I was awoken by the sound of rustling in the living room. I remembered how we had left the door open and maybe someone got in and was waiting for the right moment. The wood floorboards start creaking as footsteps made their approach to my bedroom. My heart was pounding and my stomach was in my throat. I was trying to figure out how to reach my phone without making a sound because maybe if they thought I was asleep, they would just rob me and go. The footsteps got to my door and there was the sound of heavy panting. I turned to look and met a pair of glowing eyes. I was right. Someone had walked in through the open door. Neither the landlord or I realized his old German Shepherd had come upstairs looking for him while we were in the kitchen. She must have seen her master busy, so she just curled up in my living room and fell asleep. I have never been that terrified or relieved in my life. Okay, when I was 19 in my first apartment, I had someone knock at the door. I looked through the peephole and saw this burly, heavyset man who abruptly started screaming to let him in. He was screaming things like he was going to beat my ass, kick the door down if I didn't open it. I called the cops, and as soon as someone gets on the phone, he started body slamming my door to break in. I was freaking out and crying as they quickly had 5 cops show up within 5 minutes. As soon as he heard the sirens, he quickly walked away and they met him at the bottom of the stairs. Apparently, he was after the previous renter but was extremely intoxicated. They arrested him and thankfully he never came back. I ended up breaking my lease and moving out 3 months later. It was in a very nice neighborhood, but it quickly made me wish I was back home with family instead of being on the other side of the United States. One night, I wasn't feeling very well, and the upstairs had a larger bathroom. Downstairs was an old half bath, and I wanted to leave that for her if my wife needed to use it at night. So I figured I might as well sleep in the guest room. My wife did not have a problem with this, as she had work early the next day, and I was constantly getting out of bed with food poisoning. At some point in the night, I awoke to the door slowly creak open and a female voice asking if I was feeling all right. I assumed it was my wife and replied, "Yes, honey, I'm fine. See you in the morning." But the door never closed and no footsteps went down the stairs, as I would have heard them in this 1800s home, original wood floors and stairs. We were alone in the house that night. Then there's an edit that says, I asked my wife about it the next morning and she said she never came to check on me, let alone woke up. I was facing away from the door when it happened and the unexpected silence following the question made me turn over to check. The door was wide open and no lights were on and no footsteps. Yeah. You guys are all haunted and I hate all of you. Okay, that was actually the last one. This might be a shorter video, I apologize. My videos are either 20 minutes or 10, there's like no in between, I'm sorry. You'd think at this point I'd be really good at like figuring out what would lead up to like a 20-minute video, but I'm not. That is all I have for now. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any stories you want to share with me or the community, I will have my subreddit linked down below. If you have any paranormal, creepy, people breaking in the middle of the night stories, I want to hear them. I am sweating because I had to turn my air off to film this, and it is like unbelievably hot in Arizona right now. Like I know it's always hot, but it's like 120 degrees hot. And turning my air off for like the 20 minutes it took me to film this, it's like burning up in here. And I know you guys are gonna be like, just leave your air on, like we can't hear it. Yes, you can. I know you guys are always like, it's fine if we can hear it too, because like you being alive means more than us not hearing your air conditioning. I can suffer for 20 minutes, but I have suffered long enough, so I am going to turn it back on in a second. I'm gonna go. I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye. I'm gonna ramble really fast so I can turn it on. I don't even think I have anything to ramble about actually. Oh, I ended up getting that camera that I told you guys about in my last video. And I didn't realize I needed to buy a memory card. And I have memory cards, but not one small enough for the camera. It's like a teeny tiny camera. It's charging, or I'd show you. So I had to get a micro, whatever the fuck it's called, SD card. That gets here today. And then I'm going to attempt to take some cute little aesthetic shitty pictures with it. But yeah, that's all that's happened. I never stopped recording. That's all that's happened between yesterday and today, as I received the camera and then ordered my SD card. So I have nothing else to tell you. I am going to go and turn my air on. I love you so much. See ya.